Hi, welcome to Inside the Moms Club, where being a mom is the coolest place to be. Here in the Moms Club, we believe that what embarrasses you now will make a great story later. And let's face it, if you don't laugh sometimes, you're going to cry. Join us in having a good laugh together. I'm Monica Samuels. You are now a member of Inside the Moms Club, your private destination for all things mom. Welcome, moms. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm Monica Samuels, and I'm here today with my co-host, Julie Orchid. Hello, Julie. How are you today?
I'm great.
And it has been an interesting few weeks here, but last night I had a really interesting evening. It was my oldest son's birthday, and you know, he has some food allergies and he has to have a special diet, but he's also a real health nut. So my mother baked him this super healthy cake, and I realized then that I have a problem, because on the way home to his party, I stopped at the store and I had to get some buttercream frosting.
Oh yeah.
And the only one they had for sale was in one of these tubes, you know, like a pastry tube.
Yeah. So how are you going to frost that?
Well, it was awkward. So last night we cut his cake. And of course, my mother had gone to all this trouble to bake this very healthy cake. Mm-hmm. And here I am with this pastry bag I whipped out after one bite. I'm like, no, this isn't that good. So I put the frosting on top to eat it. And my son was like, Mom, really? I mean,
like,
really?
now that a healthy cake
he said, why don't you just stick
mm-hmm.
the tube in your mouth and just squeeze it? You know? So that's when I realized I have a problem with sugar. I mean, I try to eat generally healthy, but that was that.
Well,
you know,
living with Jared, I mean, it's, his.
Well, he's super healthy. Oh my gosh. The stuff that he has us buy from the store. I mean, I've never even heard of half the things that
I'm just wondering how you even came home with a tube of frosting and not just regular frosting.
A cake. Well, I also could have gotten myself a cake too,
That's
but
true.
that would not have surprised him in the least.
Right.
But I will say, Jared is the most awesome. He's just good looking, great job. Very
kind,
just a great guy. Now he would be very embarrassed. He'd be really mad at me if I was sitting here, advertising him or saying, mm-hmm. Moms out there, if you've got a daughter who, is looking for a great guy, he would be mortified for me to do such a thing. So I'm not going to do that, but I can of course help what people out there in the audience do, if they happen to.
That's right. I mean,
log on to InsideTheMomsClub.com and, PM me, that's, it's out of my control now, because I would never embarrass him that way. Now you have started a new job.
I am.
And working in a really cool clothing store. And I know because you invited me to shop, and I of course did, because that's my thing.
Thank you.
No,
yeah.
Good.
It's an amazing store here in Austin, and it's so like woman focused, and I like to call those women there like lifeblood right now, because you walk in, it's peaceful, it's zen, you feel beautiful inside and out. It's good conversation, and it's an experience. So that's why I'm there right now. I am, I'm taking a hiatus from nursing. So this is a nice little switch for right now.
It is an experience too, because of course I shop for all kinds of things, not just buttercream frosting. So I came home
with some good
lots
stuff.
of clothes.
Yeah.
And I was lucky because I had told my husband I wasn't going to buy anything for a while. So lucky me, this was the day that our laundry was delivered. So I managed to scoop up the laundry and throw it over the part where I had the new clothes.
And you're like, I've had this forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was it was a win-win. It's a great time for sure.
Are you going to model for them?
I am. I'm so excited. Like they asked me and I was like, ladies, are you sure? I was like, not 25, just 29, just turned 29, 50 this month. That was a big deal for sure. And I got vaccinated all in, 1 week. It's been a big week for sure. I'm super excited about tomorrow on Instagram. Yeah, it's, going to be a big deal.
Oh, so they can catch you on Instagram.
Yeah, it's goodcompany.shop on Instagram. And it's it's a really neat place. So
you've got to see Julie there. Well, we are very, very, very excited because today we have an American pop icon joining us, Taylor Dayne. And as you might recall, her debut hit, which it was her first big song, went straight to the top, Tell It to My Heart. She followed that up with 17 top 20 singles. She's sold 75 million records and albums. She has 3 Grammy nominations. She's also been an actress. She's been on uh, TV, she's done live shows and film. And in 2019, she released her book, Tell It to My Heart. And this past
So good.
summer, yeah, and this past summer, she released a single called Please, and she's got more anticipated music coming. She also just this summer appeared in The Masked Singer. She got into the semifinals, and honestly, I don't know how she didn't win because I mean, she was
Oh,
amazing. She was popcorn, and if you haven't, if you missed those segments, if you didn't watch that show, get on YouTube and watch her performances. They're just absolutely amazing. She's starting a new live show called Dayne's Den, and she has, because she's now a member of the Moms Club, she has two 18-year-old. Well, of course, she has two. They're twins.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
math. A son and a daughter. So, welcome to the Moms Club, Taylor. We're so thrilled to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. Wow. What an intro. Thank you. I loved your son's advertisement, by the way. I have a boy and a girl. So, yes, I would say the same thing about Levi, my son. Yes, my daughter.
Yeah. Okay. So, if anyone else wants to send a message to me for Levi, too, we can.
Yeah.
You know, he's 18, and then my 19-year-old son. Yeah, I'll take all of them. Yeah, they're all great.
Mine just turned 19, so yeah.
Oh, really?
Interesting year. I'm sure yours have, too. It's been that graduating high school and going into their first year of college, all during this COVID year, has been just mind-blowing,
Yeah.
Graduating what? A high school, their most important year, senior year, under the covers, and then going into college, which we prepped so many years for.
I know.
Basically, they couldn't go where they wanted to go. They couldn't go where we designed them to go. And then they
Right.
go to college, essentially. So my son's bedroom is his dorm room.
Right?
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
have that going on a little bit.
My basically empty nesting turned into basically, I had an apartment in Miami that I was so looking forward to spending a lot more time in. And of course, touring and traveling as I was so normally doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Taylor, I have a question for you. You've done thousands of interviews and the podcast and one after another, but this is inside the Moms Club. So I am dying to know. We kind of know what it's been like the past 8 months. It's
I
just
know
been
you do.
an extreme emotional roller coaster.
Give it to
So
me.
how have you managed this, or how did you pivot your life with with your children to be at home to help them, manage through this, listening to
Sold the apartment in Miami.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
I couldn't be both places. I
Mhm.
honestly, my daughter's here. Like at one point she was going to go live in an apartment with her girlfriends, right? Because she was going to acting school. There is no acting school.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't act with a mask on. They can't be in classes. We all had a real reality check.
Mhm.
So did I. And a lot of times I like to go around things, we think we can go around things, or I did. I'm not going to say because we have this outside status, we have this other thing, but there is a level of that in my community because we work around things or we go around things. And I have to be honest with you, there is that level, but I'm a mom first.
Yeah.
How'd you handle with your kids the emotional part of it? Because for our kids, they didn't get prom.
Right.
Their graduation was a
ceremony.
drive-through, and my son was the next to the last. So by then, they were just ready to throw the diploma into the car and tell us to.
You're mad at me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that weird? That is how the kids have reacted.
Mm-hmm.
This makes me really emotional because my kids were almost mad at me. They were mad at the world. They're still going through it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're downstairs eating breakfast, eating lunch, trying to figure out how to, my son had multiple car accidents just because he was angry a lot, I think. But I realized at some point I had to say to him, I said, not massive accidents, but fender benders. And I said, this car was a gift to you to graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did well in high school. And then he goes, what's it for?
Yeah. It's really hard to get them to see
I
the.
graduated to go somewhere, and now I go nowhere. And because it's not just LA, it wasn't just graduating college in California, it was to go somewhere. And then to go somewhere where it got all locked down. Every time we were going somewhere, his dream college, it was knocked down, right? It wasn't just New York, it wasn't just Boston, it was just everywhere. And it just became, and then financially, my whole world shut down. I mean, you can't just say you're above anything. Everything gets shut down. It just doesn't just, you're just not, we're all part of a whole. We all learned that.
So through your book and your life and everything that I've gotten to read about you, what did you tell them? If you could give one piece of advice, because we're so excited that you have kids that are our age. We do a lot of shows too where kids are little, and so we have to think back, but we're all in it in the present right now, and of them having to live through this. What would you say that was the best advice that you gave your children?
We're still doing it, guys.
Sure.
The best advice is that I started looking at my business as a Dayne business, as a family business. So what I'm learning from this is that my children are added currency.
Yes.
And come inside to my world, whereas I used to go outside of my world. You understand?
Yes,
go
completely.
my work.
Completely.
Okay. So now I go within. So like, this is my office, right? This is my inside office. Then as what I'm creating, what you're seeing now is the Dayne's Den. I said to my son, I said, Levi, this is your trust. This is your estate. My daughter, I said, let's build here. Come inside my world, build with me. And I'm learning that. So we're doing the Dayne's Den. My son is now doing my social with me. So instead of where they were going to go out, where I was going to go out, right, where I've continually gone out and toured and built my legacy, now we're building it together.
That's really family oriented. I think that is incredibly powerful.
Families have done that, but now we're all hunkered home. Now we're doing it together. And it's been really interesting. And I watch him and he's so bright. And now that we're basically 2 rooms apart, it's really starting to knock home with me.
Yeah.
So this is starting to, and I go, this is your name. Yeah. This is my name. So let's see what we can create. And don't get me wrong, I'm learning this from people that come into my home, great business minds that have mentored me, and yet we can't go anywhere. So this is how it's been evolving for me as well.
So as hard as it's been, he'll
probably learning, and I'm learning at the same time. So we're doing this together as their young minds are developing, and I'm learning. Here we are.
And it's such a great, as we always try to find the silver lining in all of this, and the opportunity for you all to be together like this and really get to know each other even more on a little more of adult level, because, he is older now. I think he'll look back and this was really valuable time that he spent with his mom or your daughter as well. So
absolutely. Great. My daughter came into my room last night. You ask about breakthroughs. So with her, it's been more troubling because she's an actress, and it's really been, she had a great hit on a commercial, 18, like her first Nike commercial right before, and then everything just goes dry. Now, those that were developed and already had agents and things like that before are getting the work. Those that had no agent and that were having all auditions, it's non-existent really, because they had no repertoire with anybody before COVID. You understand? So those audition unless they were on tape or had some sort of communication or had some sort of pre-existing relationships, it's not there.
Yeah.
So the ones that had the work prior are getting the work again. It was existing because they're just going on tape and people are familiar with them. So these young, starving, new, it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough time.
It is tough. So your daughter is an actress. And what is your son? Does he want to go into the
economics? He's in, and he's just a very ambitious social media marketing. He'll do it. He'll do anything,
Was your daughter in
first semester? So for second semester now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my son's an economics major currently. So I think
Currently, we get it.
taking an exam tomorrow, I think that could change after that exam.
It might weed him out.
Yeah,
You
that
don't
might
know.
change
You
because it
just
is a
don't.
tough major.
Yeah,
But so your
exactly.
daughter, was she inspired by your career to do so? Like my son says he wants to be an attorney, my younger son, and I'm an attorney. And we figured he was just born to it because since he was 2 or 3, he's wanted to sue everybody. Everything that comes up, he says, "Oh, let's sue him," or "What can we sue?" So I think it's for him. It was more natural. But was she inspired by your career, or what do you think inspired her to do?
I listen. The environment is the environment. I'm sure of it. But she also was a hella in speech and debate.
Oh yeah.
Crazy good. She was winning.
All the female daughters are. They give you a run for your money. I have 2 daughters, so I can totally relate to them being able to hold their own. So
For real.
yeah.
Well, she was just scooping it up like she was dynamite, you know. So I mean, and then she naturally, she's in LA here, and she was working with Rachel Evan Wood's mom, and she was really phenomenal. She's done some wonderful things, writing shorts. So I really hope she just sticks the course, stays the course. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to believe, Taylor, that everything that you've done in your life and how you've pursued from being a single mom, correct?
Yeah.
Raising them pretty much
I mean,
and watching
basically very single.
pretty much
Yes.
like all of it. Yes. And
Yeah.
so that is so inspiring. And it's so inspiring to so many people that are listening as well, because having to take all of it on is also something that, and still doing what you do. I just think, I mean, for me today, I graduated in high school in 1989. So I'm getting some real deal thrills here with you, just like listening, to, and all of your songs. So they must look at you and be like, all the power that you must have felt then and how you expressed it by writing a book and going back. I mean, they really are taking so much from you. And I'm sure you're expressing to them not to give up on their dreams, even though we are in this, time of, having to pivot, having to think of other ways. So, I'm sure they are drawing on that.
I hope so, and I know so. Anger and it's true. My daughter did come into my room last night with an apology. Reactive and proactive.
Right.
Teenagers, the thrust of life.
Yes.
And I do see her in me. I went through and we all had that claim. We all had that rite of passage.
Yeah. That's true.
I did the same thing. I know I lived that. We wanted to react. We had that rite of passage. That was we had it. I did it to my mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So how did you recover? How do you recover to wake up the next day and be the best mom? Like we all have our thing, right? We always hit our moment at a time of the day when we need to either quit, so to speak, or do over the next day. So
yeah, you just nailed it on the head. Like some days are obviously worse.
You can't run to Miami every time you want to do it. With your
but I do honor the beautiful part of it that I'm so blessed to know that this is my family. And I did walk away and I go, wow, like this is my daughter. Like I hugged her. Maybe I didn't hug her the best right now. And I walk away and I go, be grateful that you can hug it. Like that's really, you made that. Like, oh, wow. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible.
You didn't hug her close enough. You almost piped when you held her. Like maybe that was 90 degrees, 45. I don't even know. Then you go, you get to do it again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so amazing. Your story is amazing for sure.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it better.
Yes.
So being a pop star who travels all the time, how did you handle being a single mom? How did you manage all of that? Because I know for me, I was lucky. My husband and I could afford a nanny, which was very, very nice for us. But there were even times where I know one weekend we were both supposed to be gone somewhere and we both planned our business. And then our nanny came to us and said, you realize I don't work on the weekends. And I
hired a weekend nanny.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay. So that's good.
And also, I had to go to therapy. And when I went to therapy, finally, it took a life coach. It wasn't even a therapist to get breakthrough this one for me. You know, it takes during different times in your life, you have different breakthroughs. I recommend this. It's called the Hoffman process. When you really want to get down to the core of it, like it took like 10 days. I had to go away. Not me personally, but I went away with this. It was an amazing process. It's called the Hoffman process, and it's up in Northern Cal, and it was this incredible breakthrough process. And it's not for the weak, but it was. And my daughter, like, it's this trigger, those deep triggers. If you really want to get through, like, old stuff, parents, like the stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And my daughter, you know, one of my deepest triggers for me and my mom, right? It's your parental triggers, you know, but my daughter, and I go, Star, like, come at me, give it to me. And she's like really triggered, like, now at her age. And I go, Star, it just doesn't go for me, go for the jugular. I go, it just doesn't, you're not getting me. You're not getting it. Like, I can take it. And she's looking at me. She's like, yeah, that. And I go, come on. I'm right here. It's good. We just stick. I'm not going anywhere. Come on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always here for you.
So I'm here for you. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So being a mom of,
but like, as I was saying, the one thing I can tell you about what this life coach gave me was the ability to understand is that I'm more like a male figure in my household.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I always had to step away. I was the male aspect in my household. I left a very, and I don't want to make this sound female, male energy. I was a male figure that I went out, I tackled what I needed to do to bring home a financial means that was, and I came home and there was always a supportive, they always knew it was going to be here. Food, they knew their needs were taken care of daily. And then I came home, but that for sure, I always came home. And sometimes we called it the weekend warrior situation, where I Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would come home. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I got home, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was gone. So that's my schedule. Like, it was like I was working. So I don't know how your husband and you set that up, but like, there is that balance. Like, you expect more from the mom. I know there is that. Well, I expected more from a nanny. And sometimes I had Monday through Saturday nannies in the house and always living.
yeah.
Right.
That's what I had to do.
Yeah. Well, Taylor, as part of our show, we have some Zoomer moms who want to meet you as well. So welcome, Zoomer moms.
Good to see you.
Let me introduce each one of them. We have Leslie Harrell, who is the mom of a son and a daughter, and Jennifer Marsh, who is an architect and has a son and a daughter. And all of us moms, we were all in the same class, so we're with you. Our kids are the same age.
Yes.
JC Conklin is here, and JC and I wrote a book together called Comeback Moms. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was the mom with 2 kids, and she was single with no kids. And now she has 4. So she was inspired by the women of America when we interviewed everybody. You know, she just have some children. And she does. And Helen Savage, who lives in Arlington, Virginia. And Helen is the mom of daughter Olivia, who was named after my favorite, her father's favorite actress and mine, Olivia de Havilland. So it's very pretty.
Oh, wow.
So, welcome, Zoomer moms. And we're so thrilled to have Taylor here with us today. And you want to open it up for some questions. Leslie, do you have any questions for Taylor?
Yeah, it's so interesting, like, to listen to you kind of really reflect on a lot of the stuff that especially the parents of the class of 2020 kind of dealt with in the past year, and just that transition. And I've been listening to some sermons from our church and stuff, and they talk about like, instead of strategic planning these days, they said, like, now they're looking at it as strategic positioning. So it's like a different twist on kind of life, you know, instead of like, you used to have this plan and you're going to plan like a year, a 2 year, a 3 year. And now they're like, it's far more critical to do positioning. Like, how are you going to be more flexible and navigate? And I was going to ask you, just sort of with your kids, how have you taken on, because it's kind of, we're all naturally transitioning to that, but like to really put words to it, is how are you helping your kids position themselves better for what's going to come for them? I mean, just, like you said, it's nothing is what we thought it was going to be. So how are you kind of helping your kids position themselves for the next stage? Because like you said, your daughter's acting career is kind of on hold, and your son's, schooling is on hold, but but you still got to make them feel fulfilled and help them kind of pursue being fulfilled in whatever their capacity is.
It's a mental game right now. It's a mental heart game, I feel, for them. Like, I look at her and I'm much more intuitive to how they mentally feel. I can feel their presence in my home. That's where I feel when they're, when you watch kids, it's usually when they're feeling lost, when you're losing them. Because I feel, if my daughter's running out the house too much and she's angry, like there's doors slamming, there's lost stuff on there's something going on there. So how can I help her more if she's being more productive? So I need her to work. I need her to be challenged, right? I need to see more productivity from her. So there's a depression, right? There's an anxiety. I see that more in her. My son, that's how I watch them carefully. I just watch it in their mental attitude. I can see that with them. I have that. I'm afforded that because they live in my home. Don't get me wrong. I have my own flux, right? That's where things get lost a lot, right? We get so self-involved, right? Or not. There's a loss. There's a thing going on here. We're all caught up in our own little worlds. And yet we have 19-year-olds and we want to push them somewhere. We want them to go and fly, right? Because that's what we thought was going to happen. They were going to go in their bubble. They were going to go to college. They were going to go and thrive and start a life. But that's not what happened here. My son's in my room every day. He's downstairs. My daughter's in her room every day, and she's not leaving her room as much. That's a sign to me. She's not leaving a room at all. That's a bigger sign to me. She's sleeping all day, or she's going and smoking weed. Like, there's real triggers things here. She's locking herself in her room. So and then what do? Fight her on it? It's completely illegal here. Do I keep fighting on it and get more and more distance between us? Or do I accept her more and start talking to her more, not as a mother, as a friend, and start building our relationship? Do I call a doctor more that I have as a doctor that I actually work with a lot, and say, bring my daughter in more as a patient, and then see what needs to check her blood. Let's see what we can bring her in and check her levels, and let's see what her hormones are doing. She's now a young woman. And, where doctors didn't want to touch a girl from, where I used to go and get my hormones checked at 16 or got in birth control. And, there's so many other things we can talk about. These are now really where I have her going. That's in my control if she's willing to.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I try to do. Watch mental health more.
Yeah.
And even these things happen. These kids are kind of swimming now.
Oh, yeah.
Overload.
JC, do you have any questions for Taylor?
I'm sorry, but this is where my thing is mental health, staying with them emotionally a little bit more, because I get to watch it every day. Whereas in college, they don't. My one brother's on the East Coast, and his son is up at college and had a completely emotional anxiety breakdown. And so I try to watch that a little bit more. So my daughter, not that she's medicated, she was self-medicating herself, where my son is much more of like, I told you, he was getting in car accidents a little bit more right out of college, right out of high school, because he was angry.
Yeah.
So I'm watching these signs, and I took the car away.
Yeah.
Took the car away. And then I gave him the car back, and I'm like, dude, keep this crap up.
Right.
And now you can go get your own car. So then he got a $5,000 car that he could afford, and then he smacked that up. I'm like, what's the answer here?
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect life lesson for all of these kids who want to be on their own, want to make their own decisions, want to really, in so many ways, have you out of their decision chain. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we're still in it, and it's and they're just ready.
One answer. That's all I'm saying. We're living in it. Am I kind of answering your question a little bit?
Yeah. I think it's just, I think it's how are we telling them to reposition themselves for success? And of course, none of us know the definitive answer, but you're like mental health. I mean, if that's, to me, that's where you're really helping them, is trying to help them through the mental health. Because everyone, I mean, I don't think anyone would deny that we're all not going through some mental health adjustments as adults and as in that age group and in young kids. It's happening, and that we have to try to help them do that.
I watch them and I look at their room and I watch how they're treating stuff.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
watch how they're treating themselves. And not because I'm sensitive that way. I watch how they're treating their things. I watch how they're operating.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice.
Well,
JC, do you have any questions?
Well, I mean, along that line with mental health, it is so hard to get kids, teenagers sometimes, to see what is good for them. So, I mean, do you have any suggestions with how you get them to follow that path? I mean, if they're refusing to do what they should be doing.
Well, what does that mean though, exactly? Should, or what does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, if your kid's sleeping, like what my daughter is sleeping all day on the weekends. She's just, she's depressed. And I'm like,
most kids sleep a lot. And I sleep a lot too. It just depends. Is she staying up all night watching movies and stuff?
No.
Is she smoking?
No.
Okay, well, there's got to be what is she doing?
I think she's not doing anything. I mean, she's just sleeping. Like, she's not going out. She's not engaging in social things. Because, I think there's a lot of anxiety of, well, what is safe and what isn't safe? And she has anxiety, right? So she's just shut everything out.
Going to school online at all?
She goes to school, but it's like, that's all she does. The only thing she does is go to school. Like,
do you work out at all? Do you go for walks or anything?
She won't go for walks.
With you?
Not with me, no. Because I'm her mother. She'll never go for walks.
Dog or cat? Anything that you walk on a leash?
No.
Get a dog.
Get a dog.
Get a dog.
Everybody get a dog.
Yeah.
I don't want another live thing that I'm.
No, but get her to dog. Does she make money for how old is she?
But this is she's 13. So like, obviously
dog walk for your neighbor makes a little money.
Yeah. If she's just not motivated to do anything. That's the thing. And she's very resistant.
13,
maybe I'll try
not
that.
like the worst of the worst. She's super still kind of in that young babyish age.
Mm-hmm.
She's still a little bit of a baby. She's right at that cusp.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Helen, do you have any questions?
Well, first I just want to. Yeah, I do too. I last week I talked a little bit about the gaming, and I know that a lot of kids who are staying up late and doing gaming, and our daughter's, who's 9, has just gotten into the oh gosh, what's it called? Nintendo Switch. And so we had to kind of dial that back. And when friends come over, we have 2 or 3 friends that are in the bubble, for the last year. And even though she's in school full time, fortunately, she's gotten into this gaming and videotaping, and so anytime a friend is over, no game, no video stuff. They've got to play Monopoly or go outside or just do something. And so just a question for everybody. I mean, with the folks who do have friends, are you allowing friends to come over at all with COVID? Or, I mean, maybe that would help in terms of interaction, or if they're gaming, getting them out of, have a friend come over and do something other than gaming.
Yeah.
You asking me?
I'm asking you. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little harder with teenagers because I'm like, where's Dylan been? It's so difficult. But like at some point, like I was just like, dude, is he make sure he's clean, make sure this, you just have to keep asking. But I mean, I kind of threw up my hands with that, stayed in my own room just to keep myself sane.
Yeah. Sanity. Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer, do you have any questions?
I do. I've been fascinated, Taylor, by your career. And I know that, being a star in the 80s was so different. And it was, especially as a woman in an industry, the transition to motherhood and stepping away and then now coming back into it as it's a different workplace than it once was, and in so many ways better. But you're coming at it as the perspective of a mother and watching your daughter go into an acting career, having looked back over your career. I'm so curious what that's like. I mean, I would be like a mama bear, and I am that way with my daughter going off to college and how she manages her time and, academics versus partying, all of those things, looking back at yourself, as a young person in the limelight and now having a child.
I mean, I wish she was half as ambitious as me. I don't get it twisted. No. I mean, I was born in New York, so you're just highly tenacious. And my goal was, I had the goal line always in my sights.
Yeah. And do you think that was necessary?
It's just like, no.
But do you think maybe she's more balanced? And like you said, you work a lot on mental health. Do you think she's sort of more, I look at so many people from our generation and, I look back and there was so much unresolved mental health trauma that I think a lot of my friends are dealing with now, but so many kids now they're living it and understanding what it is in the moment.
Certainly she had a much more balanced childhood, although the way she'll tell it to you, she's traumatized, hypnotized, burglarized,
we all traumatize our children.
They're all on the therapy list. They're all on
she'll say I was, you had it all, PTSD and everything. I mean, obviously, for certain, I mean, there's real wounds in my childhood from the surgeries to, my certainly, that really pushed me to and ignited my need to do and ignited my need for fame and ignited my desires and ambitious desires. There's no doubt about that. And my need to pursue the dream that I did. And there's no question at such a young age, the determination to sit in a hospital room and say, I need to be famous to get out of this bed. I need to have this. I need to have this radio. I need to be on this radio to survive. I mean, this is a little voice, a 5-year-old person saying is, in order to live, I have to be on this radio. I mean, this is not normal, but it is also a confirmation and a statement to say to, these are those affirmations that one says in the universe that becomes a statement. These are not welcome to, what Oprah said, what is that? The secret. That is what it is. That is absolute. The affirmation is absolute. That is what it is, quite frankly. Manifest and it will be. That is the manifestation in spoken word. That is it. So,
but I feel like our kids, they define success differently than we did in the 80s. Like in the 80s, I remember moving into my dorm room and seeing a poster with a mansion with, 3 amazing sports cars in the garage. And it was like justification for a higher education. And it was very surfacey. And it was very much about, we were supposed to have that big resume and be the star and take it to the, despite what we really wanted, we were supposed to sort of seek maximum fame. And I feel like kids dialed back a little bit. Like, I am going to seek comfort and happiness.
Yeah.
It's a little different than when we were at that age.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's hard because I'm used to being such a driven, ambitious person. And I think my daughter is also, but she's not in the same way. Well,
I hate to say this out loud, but my daughter's a product of LA. She's also a daughter of a famous person. She dates famous people's children. Right. She hangs out with famous people's children.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can look up who she's dated online, pictures.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that is
It's critical to what you said
also
is that, Taylor, thank you for bringing to light the fact that you're checking in with them mentally and that you're really checking in about how they are and who they want to be, and not necessarily like we used to check in to see the direction that you should be going or doing what you're doing. My daughter always says to me, I didn't call you so you could tell me what I should be doing. And I learned so much more from listening to them. So I thought that was a very critical point of you checking in with your kids in a mental place. So it's so important for moms to hear that.
I think so, because I thought that was a place for me only because I'm just sensitive because like my son and I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
So
they'll always tell me I'm tough love anyway, but I can just see them like, you're not right to, like, you're not good.
Yeah. Just one last quick question, and then
Sure.
Unfortunately our time's almost up. We're always challenged by our kids saying that we're not the cool mom. And you're a pop star. The whole country, knows you as this pop icon. If your kids ever said, that's not cool, mom, or you're really, or embarrassed thinking that was not cool.
Oh my God. He'll always, your sneakers are disgusting. My son will always go, Mom, you gotta get better kicks. You gotta get better. I'm like,
oh my God, that's hilarious.
That's funny. That is funny. Well, Taylor,
Levi or Starry will always say something like that.
So in LA, it's
well,
so you're normal.
Yes, we're inspired. That makes us feel so much better. We feel so good after getting that confirmation that we are not the only ones. Well, thank you, Taylor, so much for joining us today. It's been
great.
Amazing. Catch Taylor and Dayne's Den,
yes,
and all her music that's coming out.
I know,
in
I'm
the future.
so excited.
And when live performances come back again, and we're back.
Can you meet the kids some? Yeah, they'll show up in that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be terrific.
The guys, yes, the girl and the guy, yeah.
Yeah, that is great. Well, and we also want to thank today our sponsor, Blitz Concessions, which is your solution for all your volunteer organizations that raise money for school concessions, drive-through dinners, swag sales, and they have a great app that makes all that really easy. And so check them out at blitzconcessions.com. Check us out at InsideTheMomsClub.com. We're also on Instagram at InsideTheMomsClub. And unfortunately, we are out of time. It has been a great show. Thank you so much, Taylor. We have really enjoyed it. And we will be back next time with more celebrities and extraordinary moms just like you. We know your me time is precious and valuable. And thank you so much for spending some of it with us. And remember what we say here at the Moms Club. If you don't laugh sometimes, you're going to cry.
Yeah,
that is our motto. So anyway, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time inside the Moms Club.